Lesson 4, Unit 2. Information needs and sources. Information needs. The first step in the information process is to define the information needs. It is important to first ask what are the information requirements of all key project stakeholders. This will result in an inventory of all the information that the project will manage during its life cycle. The project team should not limit information to what the stakeholders need to know, but expand the question and add the why, when, and how they need information. A project's information needs are also dictated by legal and regulatory requirements imposed by local governments, requirements imposed by outside organizations, contractual requirements established by donor agencies, beneficiary demands for information, and internal control operations needed to coordinate the support to the project and monitor its performance. The project should not only seek to identify the information needs of stakeholders, but should also include information the project will need to manage and monitor its progress. The information needs can be classified by answering the following questions. Who needs information? What information is needed? Why they need information? When they need information? And how they want information. The first step is to identify all the project stakeholders who need information. The first stakeholder is the project donor or donors. Most of the donor requirements are already part of the contract or donor agreements, and that may include specific information that the project is responsible for collecting and reporting to the donor at specific intervals or project milestones. Other important project stakeholders include the local governments, the senior management, communities of beneficiaries, project partners, and the project team members. The type of information defines its use and purpose. The project team needs to classify the information types and organize it according to common characteristics. The type of information can help classify information and determine the best methods to collect and organize information. It is also useful at the time of sharing information to the different audiences, as it reduces the problems with duplication of efforts. For example, a project can use this table to identify the project information needs, the sources of information, the stakeholders that need information, and the format. Understanding why the information is needed can help ensure the information is relevant and accurate to the needs of stakeholders. This is a list of principal reasons why information is needed by project stakeholders. Achievement: what has been accomplished so far and how do we know the project is delivering results? Assessing progress: are the objectives being met? Monitoring: is the project well managed? Effectiveness: what difference has the project made? Efficiency: is the project making the best use of resources and were the costs reasonable? And sharing experiences: can the information help prevent similar mistakes or encourage positive approaches? When they need information. Timing is an important consideration in allocating project resources to produce the required information. The information requirements identify for each information user type and frequency of the information needed, and the team needs to track this need against the project calendar. Users are dependent on receiving information on time to make decisions, and the project team needs to plan for the time it will take to gather, process, and report information. Each stakeholder needs to receive the information in a specific format. The format may vary from forms to reports, from pictures to videos, from simple charts to comprehensive analysis. A project information system needs to be able to deliver information in the formats required by the key project stakeholders. The project manager should make a clear distinction between must-have information and nice-to-have information. The first is a requirement. The second, a luxury. Each hour spent in managing nice-to-have information is an hour the project loses to concentrate on the must-have information. Here's a simple matrix that can help organize and identify the information needs of the various project stakeholders. There are 5 columns to identify the who, what, why, when, and how the information required by the stakeholders. Locating information sources. A major problem faced by many development projects is locating the information sources that correspond to the project needs. Locating information sources and finding information within those sources requires careful planning and analysis. Each piece of information the project needs has to be localized and an inventory created that will identify the location and owners of that information. Locating information requires a strategy that will facilitate identification of information sources that are valid and reliable. Information derived from original sources is more reliable than secondary information. Secondary information is usually prone to errors, bias, or simplifications compared to the original information. This is caused by the handling that occurs when moving information from one source to another. The more a piece of information is handled, the less reliable it becomes. Information is everywhere. The difficulty resides in identifying where the best information is located. Using information requiring matrix, the project team needs to connect its needs with the sources and then properly classify which are valid, reliable, and dependable. Here are some of the basic sources for information available to a project team. Organization sources. This is information captured by other projects in the organization. Country sources, which might include country statistics collected by government agencies. Community sources, information collected from the community including beneficiary needs. NGO agencies that collect country information that the team may consider useful for the project's purpose. And other sources, which include local universities, libraries, websites, and research centers. A simple map can also be used to identify information sources and the level of relevance the information has to the project's needs. The map shows a project surrounded by different layers of information sources. Each level defines a degree of relevance. The closer the layer, the more relevant it is to the project. This can help in determining the strategies a project needs to collect information from these sources. Who owns information? Information is power, and one way to exercise this power is by controlling it. Many sources of information may be located in places where there is too much control on it. Ideally, information should be made available to all who need it, but that is not always the case. A project manager needs to investigate who owns information and identify the barriers that may be in place when trying to get it. In many cases, the information could be in a different language, protected by copyright laws, or inaccessible to the public. In other cases, the information might be embedded in people's experiences, practices, and behaviors. Once the project team has located and identified the owners of the information, it needs to find out what it needs to do to gain access to it. This needs to be balanced with the cost and effort needed to get information. By organizing information sources with the type of information, a project can identify the gaps and redundancies in the information required by the project. The table can also be used to classify information sources by relevance, usefulness, accuracy, credibility, and significance. The project will evaluate the best and most cost-effective method to getting the information. There are two common methods to get information, from primary sources and secondary sources. Collection from primary sources means that the project team, by the means of surveys and other tools, collects information directly from the source, in this case, beneficiaries. But it's more time-consuming and expensive due to the logistics, but assures the project gets information with the quality needed. Collection from secondary sources. This means the project gets the information from other organizations or agencies that have collected it. It is less expensive, but there might be issues with quality, bias, and other factors that limit its usefulness to the project.